Hi there, this is Dr. Destiny Kopp, and welcome back to the Creators MBA Show. Today, I am doing something a little different. I am kicking off my Beyond the PDF event. And to kick it off, I want to show you a real example of a lead magnet that goes way past a regular PDF. More on that in a minute. But first, let me tell you what Beyond the PDF actually is. It is a free event running July the 13th through the 31st. Inside, I pulled together more than 24 creators who ditched the static PDF and built modern, interactive lead magnets instead. These are custom GPTs, Claude artifacts, quizzes, calculators, the kind of freebie that does the work for your subscriber instead of sitting in their downloads folder collecting dust. And here's the part I love. You don't just see the tools, you get the stories behind them. How each creator built theirs, what format they picked, and exactly how it's performing. Some of them are seeing conversion rates over 50%. These are real numbers. So you can go in, look at what's working, and build the same thing for your own list. Then there's the Get It Done week, July the 27th through the 31st. That's where you stop watching and you start building. By the end of the week, you will have your own modern lead magnet done. I've also got a bingo card that you can play all event long, where I'm doing book giveaways and a stack of other prizes. So there's plenty of motivation to keep you moving. Okay, now back to what I promised you. Here's how I made today's episode because it's a little bit unique. I took all of the contributor stories, every detail about how their lead magnets are performing, and I dropped them into Notebook LM. Then I had it turn everything into a podcast episode where two people talk through these scenarios and why they work. So what you're about to hear is that episode. It's one more example of the kind of thing you can pull off in this AI world that will knock the socks off of your audience. So before you go, I want you to sign up for Beyond the PDF. The link is in the show notes. So do it now so you don't forget. And I will see you inside, and I hope to see you in the Get It Done week. And one more thing. On Wednesday, July the 29th, I am running a live build event where we will create your modern lead magnet together in real time. That is part of the VIP upgrade. And the VIP doesn't just get you the live build. It comes with a bunch of really good gifts from the contributors too. All right, let's get right into it.
You know, if you were to take like a digital magnifying glass to my computer right now, or honestly, to the computer of the person listening to this right now, you would find a very specific, very quiet kind of graveyard.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. The downloads folder.
Yes, it's that one folder. Maybe it's meticulously labeled resources, or maybe it's just the chaotic wilderness of your downloads. But inside it, there are just dozens, maybe hundreds of perfectly designed, highly informative, completely unread PDF guides.
Right, just gathering digital dust.
Exactly. The ultimate checklist for X, the complete guide to Y. You see the ad, you trade your email address for it, you click download, and you feel this fleeting, completely unearned rush of productivity. And then it just sits there, literally until the heat death of the universe.
It is really the universal digital pain point of our era, because we have all become digital hoarders of good intentions. We trade our contact information, which, by the way, is a highly valuable personal asset for this promise of transformation. But what we actually receive in that transaction is, well, it's just a beautifully formatted homework assignment.
Homework, yes.
Right. And the fundamental reality of consumer psychology is that nobody, I mean, literally, no matter how ambitious they are, Nobody really wants more homework.
Exactly. The pain of having to actually read 30 pages of a stranger's thoughts totally outweighs the desire for the result. And that behavioral bottleneck is exactly what we are tearing apart today. So welcome to the deep dive. We are going to bypass the typical marketing fluff and deconstruct this massive systemic shift happening in the digital landscape right now. We are looking at hard data from an event called Beyond the PDF. This was hosted by Dr. Destiny Kopp as part of a Creators MBA event. And before we even get into the specific creator metrics, I just have to point out how brilliant the framing of this entire event was.
Oh, absolutely. The landing page for the summit wasn't just a static page begging you to sign up. It was in itself a piece of interactive meta marketing.
Which is the perfect way to prove a thesis, right? The medium became the message. Instead of giving potential attendees like a PDF about why they shouldn't use PDFs, Dr. Kopp built what she called a format finder.
So you land on the page, and instead of a wall of copy, you just answer 3 quick questions about what you want your freebie to actually do for your specific audience. And based on your answers, the tool dynamically routes you to the exact interactive format you should build. And it backs it up with real examples from 26 creators who had already made the switch.
And today, we are going deep into the profiles of 24 of those specific creators. We're going to look at the underlying architecture of how and why they ditched the static traditional PDF for interactive formats. So we are talking about custom GPTs, Claude artifacts, dynamic quizzes, and personalized B2B calculators.
And the reason we are spending an hour on this is the data. We aren't looking at a cute 5% bump in open rates. We are looking at conversion rates hitting over 50%.
Yeah, 50%. It's wild.
We are talking about tens of thousands of highly qualified leads generated and audiences that are actually executing on the material instead of just hoarding the files.
Okay, so let's set the stage. Why is this happening now?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the fundamental shift driving those massive conversion rates is really macroeconomic. We have officially matured into the AI era. And the defining characteristic of this era is that raw information has been completely commoditized. It is practically free.
Right, because of ChatGPT and everything else.
Exactly. If someone just wants to know the 5 steps to start a podcast or know how to outline a book, they don't need a creator's PDF anymore. They can go to a large language model, type a prompt, and get a customized answer in 3 seconds. Therefore, the new premium. The only thing a user will actually trade their valuable email address and their limited attention for is execution. The goal is no longer to give your audience a textbook to read. The goal is to hand them a tool that physically does the work for them.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because before we start getting starry-eyed over the flashy AI tools and the massive subscriber numbers, we really need to understand the fundamental psychological failure of the PDF. What actually broke?
Let's look at Kinsey Soderberg from Authentic AI.
Yeah, Kinsey is a great example. Her audience consists of women entrepreneurs, course creators, educators. These are people who are desperately trying to build systems to scale their businesses, but they are terrified of losing their human touch to robotic-sounding AI.
And her experience with traditional lead magnets perfectly illustrates the break in the model. For a long time, she did what industry best practices dictated. She offered static PDFs, toolkits, and lists of AI prompts. And she tracked the user behavior closely.
And what did she find?
She noted that when people downloaded these documents, they experienced what she called a little spark of excitement. But when it came to implementation, the drop-off was nearly absolute. They never actually did anything with the material.
Because a static document can't meet a user where they are, it's totally blind to context. If I download a 50-page guide on business automation, I have to read the whole thing, internalize it, and then figure out how to apply chapter 3 to my specific messy inbox. It requires massive cognitive translation.
Exactly. It's a huge burden on the user.
So Kinsey completely pivoted. She stopped giving away documents, and she built what is called a Claude artifact. Now, for the listener who isn't, spending their weekends reading AI patch notes, what exactly is a Claude artifact, mechanically speaking?
That is a crucial distinction to make. When you normally chat with an AI, it just spits text back at you in a chat window. A Claude artifact is entirely different. It is a feature built into Anthropic's Claude model, where if you ask it to create something structural, like a piece of software code, a vector graphic, or a functional interactive dashboard, it doesn't just give you the text. It actually renders a self-contained working mini application in a dedicated window right next to the chat. It is a standalone functional tool generated in real time.
So it's essentially instant software development on demand.
Exactly. So Kinsey used this architecture to build her AI system snapshot. Instead of a massive PDF explaining how to automate a business, her tool asks the user one single, highly focused question What is your most annoying manual task? That's it.
I love that framing. Not what is your corporate strategy for Q3, but what is the thing making you want to throw your laptop out the window today?
The user types in that one frustrating bottleneck. And within minutes, the Claude artifact processes that specific input and generates a custom-built 3-phase rollout plan specifically for automating that exact task. It even recommends the specific tech stack needed to pull it off. You transition instantly from, here is a list of 50 automation tools you should research, to, here is the exact blueprint to solve the specific thing annoying you this morning.
And the market response is the proof of concept. I mean, she pulled in 366 signups for her email list in just 30 days. And then she took this tool to social media marketing world, spoke on stage, told the audience to try it, and pulled in another 200 leads instantly.
Because the lead magnet isn't just a promise. It acts as a live, undeniable demo of what her business actually does. She doesn't have to convince you she knows AI. The tool she gave you proves it by solving your problem in real time.
Yeah, that speed to resolution is everything. It's like, okay, downloading a PDF is like buying a treadmill. You click download, you enter your credit card, and you feel this massive dopamine hit of accomplishment. You think, yes, I am finally going to get in shape.
But then the treadmill arrives.
Right. You put it in the spare bedroom, and within 3 weeks, it is literally draped in laundry. It just sits there, radiating judgment, making you feel guilty every time you walk past it. These new interactive tools, like Kinsey's Snapshot, they are like a personal trainer who shows up at your house, physically straps you into your running shoes, and practically runs the miles for you. The tool does the heavy lifting.
That concept of guilt you just mentioned is not just a clever metaphor. It is a measurable psychological driver. And Ruth Poundwhite explicitly brings this up in her data.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ruth is a soulful sales and aligned AI coach. She works with a lot of neurodivergent entrepreneurs and people dealing with chronic fatigue. For this specific audience, energy management isn't just a productivity hack. It is the entire foundation of their business survival.
Right, because if you are dealing with chronic fatigue, reading a 30-page PDF isn't just boring. It requires a massive physical expenditure of cognitive energy that you simply might not have that day.
Exactly. Ruth realized that her graveyard of beautifully designed guides was actually doing a disservice to her audience. A downloaded PDF essentially creates a debt of time and energy. It is a promissory note. You download it on a Tuesday, but you owe it 3 hours of your Saturday to actually read, decipher, and implement the strategies.
That's a great way to put it, a debt of time.
And when her audience, who was already low on energy, didn't pay that debt, they felt what Ruth specifically identified as vague guilt. She was inadvertently making her potential clients feel bad about themselves before they even bought a product.
Wow. That is a terrible way to start a customer relationship.
So she completely engineered the friction out of the process. She shifted to a free, low-capacity AI sales system starter kit, also built as a Claude artifact. Notice the phrasing, low capacity.
She is acknowledging the user's state.
Yes. The tool gives users 4 specific prompts that cut the cognitive load of writing sales copy. It includes an AI brain dump template designed to take messy, unstructured thoughts and instantly turn them into polished content. It pays the user upfront and saved time and saved energy.
And here is the hidden benefit. It saved Ruth energy, too. She mentioned in her profile that she didn't have to spend days nudging pixels around in Canva trying to make a document look pretty. The value of the tool is in the computational output, not the font choice on the title page.
Exactly.
And that shift in value brought her 500 new subscribers since April without spending a single dime on paid ads.
We see this exact same realization regarding the limits of text from Robin Bennett, known as the Technology Queen. Robin is a business and tech strategy consultant, and she is not new to this game. She has generated over 600,000 leads for clients over her career. She has analyzed every conceivable type of sales funnel. And her conclusion was that a one-size-fits-all PDF is essentially a wall of text. That was her exact phrase. A wall of text has a hard biological ceiling on how deep it can go before the user's working memory is overloaded and they just tap out.
You hit page 5 of an ebook, you realize there are 20 pages left, and your eyes just glaze over. You start skimming, you miss the core concepts, and the value goes to 0. So how did Robin break through that ceiling?
She replaced the static PDF with her funnel strategy tool. And the value exchange here is incredibly sophisticated. The user doesn't just read, they interact. They answer a series of strategic diagnostic questions about their specific business model. Based on those inputs, the tool dynamically generates 4 distinct, highly personalized assets.
Wait, it builds 4 separate things at once?
Yes. It creates a custom funnel map, visually outlining the user's ideal customer journey. It generates an AI-driven written strategy document. It builds a 90-day actionable roadmap to implement the funnel. And this is the true paradigm shift. It unlocks on-demand AI
Coaching.
The user gets access to a bot trained on Robin's specific methodology that can answer questions about their new funnel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay, let's unpack the architecture of that for a second, because she isn't just using a generic chat GPT wrapper, right? If she's offering coaching based on her own methodologies, she has to be anchoring the AI to her specific intellectual property.
Precisely. In technical terms, this usually involves a process called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Instead of the AI just guessing an answer based on the entire internet, which leads to generic advice, the AI first searches a private database of Robin-specific frameworks, past coaching calls, and proprietary strategies.
Right.
It retrieves her specific knowledge and then generates the answer based solely on that context.
So it actually sounds like her. It gives her advice. If we look at the business implications of this, Robin has fundamentally altered her relationship with the prospect. With a PDF, you are a distant, static author. You hand them a document, and they are alone in their office trying to figure it out.
But with this tool.
With this funnel strategy tool, Robin is essentially installing a miniature, highly intelligent clone of herself directly into the prospect's daily workflow. She is providing an ongoing, personalized consulting service for free,
Which builds an immense, almost insurmountable amount of trust and reciprocity before a financial transaction is ever even pitched. When Robin eventually offers her paid consulting services, she isn't a cold voice in their inbox. She's the architect of the system they're already using.
So if the core problem across all these audiences is that users are overwhelmed, they're deeply fatigued by information overload, and they fundamentally do not want to do the homework of translating theory into practice, well, the solution is undeniable. You have to build a lead magnet that does the heavy lifting for them. And that takes us directly into the rise of AI assistants and generators. These are the formats that take the raw, chaotic, messy ideas floating around in a user's head and instantly spin them into finished, usable products.
Let's examine Faith Lee, the founder of Faith's Biz Academy, as a prime example of this heavy lifting concept. She works with faith-driven female entrepreneurs who are trying to build digital product businesses, things like printables, templates, or courses. Now, her demographic is heavily comprised of mothers and caregivers. These are people who have incredibly limited, highly fractured windows of time to work on their business. Maybe they have 45 minutes during a toddler's nap time.
Right. They do not have 4 uninterrupted hours to sit in a coffee shop and brainstorm.
Exactly. And Faith noticed a recurring fatal hurdle in her community. Her clients simply could not focus on a single product idea. They would get trapped in the ideation phase, second-guessing themselves forever.
Analysis paralysis. It is literally the absolute killer of all entrepreneurial momentum.
Originally, Faith tried to solve this by offering a beautifully designed Canva template to help them map out their ideas. But she realized a template is just an empty container. It still requires the user to do the grueling cognitive work of ideation and validation. So she abandoned the template and built Faith's product idea, Spark GPT. It is a custom GPT hosted on OpenAI's platform.
And how does the user experience change with this GPT?
Instead of staring at a blank matrix on a PDS, the user engages in a conversation. They tell the GPT their general niche, what skills they have, and exactly how much time they have available to work that week. The AI processes these constraints, and in under 5 minutes, it generates one and only one clear, highly strategic, doable product idea.
Just one.
Just one. Furthermore, it outlines the immediate next step to start creating it that exact same day.
Just one idea. That is the genius of it. Because if you give someone in a state of analysis paralysis a list of 10 great ideas, you haven't solved their problem. You have actually exacerbated their paralysis. They now have to choose between 10 things. By forcing the AI to output one validated, highly constrained idea, she removes the friction of choice entirely. She takes them from zero to momentum in 5 minutes.
And the market rewarded that reduction in friction massively. Faith acquired 1,000 new signups in a single month using this specific tool.
1,000 signups.
That is 1,000 highly targeted leads who experienced an immediate tangible win directly attributed to Faith's brand.
We see a very similar philosophy regarding time constraints with Heather Ritchie at Writer's Life for You. Her audience is female solopreneurs. These are women who are constantly battling burnout, wearing every hat in their business, but they still have this looming pressure to show up and create content consistently for social media and their blogs.
Heather has a fantastic phrase for this. She says her audience struggles because life is always lifing.
Life is lifing is perhaps the most accurate description of running a solo business I have ever heard. You have the best intentions on Sunday night. You map out your content calendar, and then Monday hits. A client has an emergency, your internet router dies, your kid gets a fever, and suddenly it is 11 p.m. on Thursday. You are staring at a blinking cursor with zero inspiration, and you haven't posted all week.
Historically, the industry's solution to that problem was the classic PDF lead magnet. 365 content ideas for your business. It is a staple of digital marketing. But as Heather realized, a static list doesn't actually solve the problem of contextualization. You still have to figure out how to take generic prompt number 84, which might be share a behind-the-scenes photo, and make it fit your specific brand voice and your specific audience that day. It still requires heavy mental lifting.
So what did she build instead?
She built the Seasonal Spark Content Idea Generator. It is a free interactive web app. It doesn't just hand the user a static list of national holidays. It actively collaborates with the user. The user inputs their niche and their current promotional goals, and the tool does the work with them in real time to generate custom, seasonal, highly specific content ideas that are practically ready to publish.
It bridges the gap between generic advice and final execution. And I'm looking at her metrics here. It netted her 264 highly qualified subscribers in 90 days. But the kicker is that she noted she did this with almost zero active promotion. She wasn't running massive ad campaigns or constantly pitching it on stories. The tool just sells itself because the pure utility of it is so high.
The utility is the marketing. That is a critical maxim for this entire deep dive. When the lead magnet actually does the heavy lifting, the user's perception of the creator's value skyrockets instantly. Let's look at Amy Harrop from Succeed with Content to see how far this value exchange can go. Her audience consists of digital product creators and independent authors. For an author, time is the ultimate bottleneck. Sitting down to outline a 50,000-word book and then subsequently writing the promotional sales copy for it are massive cognitive hurdles that can delay a project for months.
Staring at a blank page trying to structure a massive manuscript is daunting. Most people just procrastinate. So if Amy had just offered a PDF called The 10-Step Guide to Outlining Your Book, it would go straight to the graveyard. It's just more work.
Instead, Amy went all in on automation. She created the Double Up Custom GPT bundle. This bundle includes two distinct tools, the Story Pitch GPT and the Outline Buddy GPT. This completely shifts the paradigm of what a lead magnet is supposed to be. She is no longer attempting to teach them how to outline. She's giving them a tool that actually outlines the book for them based on their initial messy ideas.
She is essentially giving away a digital ghostwriter as a freebie.
Exactly. And the time savings are quantifiable. Amy notes that these specific tools save her authors an average of 2 to 3 hours per individual book project. For her highly active audience, that aggregates to 10 to 15 hours of save time a month.
Wait, she is literally giving away 15 hours of human life a month for free?
Yes.
Let that sink in. That is an insane value proposition for a top-of-funnel lead magnet. You trade your email address, and in return, you get nearly 2 full working days handed back to you every single month.
But if we want to talk about the absolute apex of giving time back to a user, we have to talk about Monica Froese from Empowered Business. When I analyzed the data stack, this was, in my opinion, one of the most structurally fascinating and aggressive technical shifts in the entire group.
Oh, I agree completely.
Monica works with content creators who are desperately trying to optimize their operational processes. And as we all know, one of the most devastating time sinks for any digital creator is the daily inbox.
Oh, email is the absolute worst. It is a hydra. You spend an hour clearing it out, you feel great, and by the time you come back from lunch, there are 20 new, highly demanding requests waiting for you. It never ends.
Monica experienced the exact same operational drag. Her inbox was consuming hours of her week, destroying her ability to do deep creative work. So she built a highly sophisticated tool to solve her own problem, and then brilliantly turned it into a lead magnet. She calls it the daily inbox triage skill.
Okay, wait. Her profile specifically calls it an installable quad skill. I need to push back here because this sounds incredibly advanced. How does this actually work mechanically? She isn't just sending them to a web page to type things in, is she?
No. This goes far beyond a simple web form. Let me break down the architecture. When a user signs up, they first go through a comprehensive 9-question setup interview. This interview captures exactly how the user manages their email, what their priorities are, who their VIP clients are, what types of requests they normally reject, and what their personal writing tone is. The tool then takes all that data and generates a personalized instruction file.
Okay, so a system prompt.
Exactly. But here's where it gets wild. The user actually takes that file and installs it into their own Claude AI account and then connects it via API to their Gmail.
Hold on, stop. You're telling me people are willingly giving a third-party AI script full access to read their private inbox? Isn't that a massive security and privacy nightmare?
It's a fantastic question. And it comes down to how API permissions, specifically OAuth, function. Monica isn't getting access to their email. Monica's servers aren't reading their email. The user is granting permissions strictly to their own secure instance of Claude. The API handshake allows Claude to read the incoming text, process it according to the rules Monica provided, and draft a response. It's contained within the user's own secure ecosystem.
The user maintains control. So once it is installed and authorized, what does it actually do?
Once active, this AI assistant acts as a tireless executive assistant. It reads the user's inbox every single morning before they even wake up. It automatically analyzes and sorts every email into one of 4 specific action buckets based on the user's rules. And this is the magic part: it actually drafts replies in the user's own specific voice and tone. The user wakes up, opens their computer, and instead of facing a mountain of unread stress and decision fatigue, they have a neatly prioritized list with draft responses already written, just waiting for their final approval and a click to send. Monica states that her own personal inbox time dropped from several hours to just 15 minutes a day.
Okay, this is mind-blowing to me. Not just because the tech is cool, but because of the strategic marketing implications. Monica didn't just give them a tool to use once on her website and forget about. She built a piece of active infrastructure that they physically install into their daily digital lives.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the exact distinction that elevates this from a marketing tactic to a fundamental business mode. She transitioned her brand from being a resource they read once to an infrastructure they rely on daily. If you are the invisible engine that clears their inbox and saves them 2 hours every single morning, you become indispensable. You are deeply, permanently integrated into their daily habit loop.
So when Monica goes to sell a paid product 6 months later, like a course, a mastermind, consulting Sturbany, she isn't just some stranger popping up in their inbox trying to extract money. She is the literal architect of the system that makes their morning bearable. The level of trust and brand loyalty that generates is absolute. You couldn't buy that kind of trust with $1 million in Facebook ads. And as a lead magnet, she noted it brought in 78 highly qualified leads in a single week.
And those are 78 people who have successfully executed a somewhat complex technical installation, which heavily pre-qualifies them as ideal buyers for advanced operational training. It's brilliant segmentation.
Sometimes the heavy lifting we need AI to do isn't necessarily generating massive amounts of text. Sometimes the absolute hardest, most exhausting work in business is simply making a decision.
Which brings us perfectly into our next major category, the power of the matchmaker and idea selectors. Because as we touched on with Faith Lee, analysis paralysis isn't always about a lack of ideas. Often it is about having far too many ideas and freezing up because the user is terrified of picking the wrong one and wasting their time.
It's the paradox of choice. You go to a restaurant with a 10-page menu, and you panic and order a cheeseburger because evaluating 80 different entrees is just too cognitively demanding.
Exactly. And in digital marketing, analysis paralysis is a conversion killer. If your audience is stuck trying to decide what to do, they will never, ever buy the tool or the course you sell that helps them do it. They have to make a choice before they can make a purchase.
Let's look at Elle Gruen from Styled Stock Society to see this in action. She is a highly successful membership strategist. Her primary audience consists of creators and entrepreneurs who are trying to scale away from one-on-one client work by building a recurring revenue membership model. Originally, Elle offered a very standard PDF guide. It detailed 5 different types of membership models and break down exactly what types of lead magnets work best for each specific model.
And objectively, that is incredibly valuable, high-quality information. But it still puts the entire burden of translation on the user. The user has to read through all 5 models, audit their own business, figure out which model fits their specific personality and audience best, and then sit down and brainstorm an idea from scratch. Elle realized she could use AI to eliminate that entire friction-heavy process.
So she built a matchmaker.
She switched to a Claude artifact called the Membership Lead Magnet Matchmaker. The architecture is beautifully simple for the user. They don't read anything. They simply answer 3 quick, multiple-choice questions about their specific membership topic and their audience demographics. The AI instantly processes those constraints and hands them 5 highly personalized, highly relevant lead magnet ideas written explicitly for their exact business.
It just makes the decision for you. It removes the fear of getting it wrong. And the financial results of this shift are phenomenal. She added 100 new subscribers to her list in just 3 weeks. But more importantly, and this is the metric that matters fully, 1/3 of the sold-out spots in her high-ticket paid group program came directly from people who would use this matchmaker tool.
That conversion rate to a paid program is exceptional, and it points to a deeper psychological truth. The tool didn't just give them a good idea. It gave them the confidence that it was the mathematically and strategically right idea. Confidence is the actual currency being exchanged here. These creators recognize that their audience's primary bottleneck wasn't a lack of information. The internet is overflowing with information. The bottleneck was a lack of confidence in their own ability to choose the right path.
Let's examine Jillian Leslie from Military, because she weaponized this concept of confidence in a way that's just strategically masterful. Her company, Military, is actually a software startup. They build tools that help creators sell digital products easily.
And her target demographic is established creators. Correct. People who already have a blog, a podcast, an Instagram following. They have built the trust, but they are leaving money on the table because they aren't monetizing their audience effectively.
Right. They aren't beginners to the internet, but they are totally overwhelmed by the tech and the strategy of actually creating a product to sell. Originally, Jillian's top-of-funnel approach was to give people a set of ChatGPT prompts and basically say, here, go use these prompts to figure out what digital product you should build. She put all the work on the user. And what she found in her back-end data was fascinating and highly problematic.
People were signing up for her free software accounts, so the marketing was working, but they weren't actually taking the next step. Their Military dashboards were just sitting there empty.
Exactly. Because they still didn't know what to sell. You can give someone the most beautiful, frictionless e-commerce storefront in the world, but if they don't know what to put on the shelves, the store stays closed, and they never upgrade to a paid software plan.
The problem was not a lack of software features. It was the effort and the guesswork required to make a foundational business decision. So Jillian completely changed her approach. She built the AI digital product finder. The user lands on the page and answers 3 simple questions about what they are uniquely good at and exactly who they help.
And then,
in under 2 minutes, the AI processes their expertise and hands them 3 highly specific product ideas. And it doesn't just give a title, it includes exactly what modules to include in the product, a suggested psychological price point, and a realistic estimate of how long it will take to create.
okay, stop. Because this is where the strategy just elevates to a whole new level. Listen to the downstream impact of what Jillian did. She didn't just use a matchmaker to capture an email address and build a generic newsletter list. She engineered this specific lead magnet to directly solve the exact behavioral bottleneck that was preventing people from adopting her core software product.
The results validate the strategy perfectly. Jillian's data shows that free signups who use this AI tool are 42% more likely to actually go into their Military dashboard and set up a product. That is a massive behavioral shift. And because they are actually using the software, it measurably increases the number of people who eventually hit the limits of the free plan and upgrade to her paid monthly subscriptions.
She used a free AI tool to directly increase the adoption rate and the lifetime value of her paid software. That is brilliant vertical integration of the customer journey. You identify the obstacle blocking the purchase, and you build a free tool that destroys the obstacle before the user even fully realizes they were stuck.
We see this clarity over chaos approach working beautifully outside of software as well, specifically in Event Planet. Julie C. Butler is a visibility and collaboration strategist. A big part of her business involves helping coaches plan and execute large virtual summits to grow their lists. Originally, she used to hand out these massive, overwhelming brainstorming worksheets to help them plan. So she replaced those intimidating worksheets with the virtual event idea Kickstart GPT.
And again, we see the shift from a generic worksheet that demands you think to an interactive tool that processes your inputs and gives you actionable clarity in minutes. She generated over 650 opt-ins with this tool, specifically because it stops the user from spinning out in anxiety and gets them immediately into the planning phase. It's the matchmaker principle applied to project management.
And this matchmaker principle extends perfectly into the realm of market viability and risk mitigation. To solve the confidence gap, she built the Digital Product Advisor.
Yeah.
Now, this tool isn't just about brainstorming a new idea. This is about rigorously vetting an idea you already have. You have a concept for a course, but you are paralyzed. You are terrified to spend the time building it because you don't know if anyone will actually open their wallets and buy it.
Oh, that is the most terrifying part of creating anything. You spend 3 months locked in your office, recording videos, writing workbooks, building sales pages, and then you launch it.
Well, I mean, you launch it and it's just crickets. Nobody buys.
Yeah.
That's a huge, very valid fear that stops thousands of creators from ever launching.
So Carrion's AI tool acts as an objective, high-level digital strategist. It asks the user the tough questions about their idea, and it delivers a comprehensive, personalized report.
What exactly is in the report? It tells the user the core strengths of their proposed idea. It identifies the structural gaps they need to fix before launching. It provides a data-backed estimate of what their specific audience will realistically pay for it, and it even suggests high-converting names for the course. In 10 minutes, the user goes from terrified uncertainty to knowing exactly whether to launch it, pivot the angle, or scrap the idea entirely and rethink their strategy.
Because it mitigates risk. It is functionally equivalent to having a high-priced, seasoned consultant sitting at your desk giving you bespoke advice for absolutely free. And she pulled in 451 new subscribers in 30 days via paid ads using this tool, which means the cold traffic appeal of risk mitigation is incredibly strong.
Speaking of mitigating massive business risk, let's talk about the absolute nightmare that is choosing enterprise software. Marcy Rossi is a business strategist who helps coaches and service providers get their back-end operational systems set up. Her audience is typically piecing their business together from random conflicting Google searches, getting totally overwhelmed by the thousands of CRMs, email providers, and project management tools on the market.
And picking the wrong tech stack isn't just a minor inconvenience. If you choose the wrong CRM, it costs you thousands of dollars in subscription fees, it creates daily operational friction for your team, and it usually ends with the business owner abandoning the software entirely and going back to messy spreadsheets.
So Marcy didn't write a PDF comparing 50 tools. She built the Tech Stack Matchmaker quiz. The user answers 6 highly targeted questions about their business model, their budget, and their personal working style. In 2 minutes, the matchmaker processes the variables and hands them a personalized, definitive recommendation for the exact combination of tools they need to buy. And the numbers on this are fantastic. She acquired 163 highly qualified subscribers in just 3.5 weeks. She saw a massive 11% click-to-open rate on her follow-up emails, which is well above industry average. And most importantly, she tracked a 143% increase in traffic to her core service sales page.
Let's break down the logic of why that traffic spikes so dramatically. The quiz diagnosed their specific operational problem. It prescribed the exact complex tech stack needed to fix it. And then, completely logically, the very next step in the funnel is Marcy saying, hey, I am an expert in the exact tools I just recommended. It is a seamless, frictionless transition from free diagnosis to paid implementation.
It is the perfect bridge, and Elizabeth Newman uses a very similar diagnostic matchmaking approach for the concept of automation. Elizabeth is an automation strategist. She helps business owners who are drowning in messy, chaotic manual systems. She created a custom GPT called the Find Your Hidden Automations GPT. The premise is brilliant. It uncovers the specific time-saving automations that are hiding in plain sight within the user's daily operations.
The performance metrics on this GPT are extraordinary. She generated 607 subscribers in 90 days. But the truly staggering number is her conversion rate. She achieved an 80% opt-in rate on her landing page.
Let me repeat that for everyone driving right now. An 80% opt-in rate. If 8 out of 10 human beings who land on a web page are willing to hand over their email address, you have struck absolute marketing gold. And why does it work so well? It's because she didn't just use a blank chat GPT interface. She trained her specific GPT on her own proprietary automation frameworks, her past client matrices, and her years of identifying bottlenecks. It is not generic AI advice. It is Elizabeth's actual brain systematized and scaled into a digital tool.
Which perfectly transitions us into our next major category. Because what Marcy and Elizabeth are really doing here, finding hidden flaws and prescribing tech stacks, is fundamentally a process of diagnosis. And beyond just making choices, some of the most phenomenally successful interactive formats we are seeing in this dataset act exactly like a digital doctor. They diagnose precisely what is wrong with the user's current business, current strategy, or current mindset.
The diagnostic quiz. Okay, I have to push back here and ask a psychological question. Why are we as consumers so deeply obsessed with being diagnosed? Like, people will scroll right past a beautifully researched 50-page ebook on business growth,
But if you put an interactive quiz in front of them that says, find out exactly why your business is failing in 6 simple questions, they cannot click on it fast enough. Why are we wired like that?
This raises an important question, and it comes back to the deep human desire to categorize chaos. People crave clarity over their own messy reality. When you are operating inside your own business or your own life, everything feels chaotic and interconnected. You have 50 different fires burning, your revenue is fluctuating wildly, your ads aren't working, and you can't see the forest for the trees. A diagnostic quiz takes that sprawling, overwhelming, undefined anxiety and neatly places it into a clearly definable box.
So it isolates the variable.
Exactly. It says you aren't fundamentally broken as an entrepreneur, you just have a type 3 deliverability issue, or you have a top-of-funnel conversion leak. By giving the abstract problem a concrete name, you immediately make it solvable. It provides profound psychological relief.
And no one in our source material understands this psychological desire for categorization better than Shanti Zak. She is essentially the undisputed queen of quizzes in this entire data set.
Her numbers are genuinely staggering. She created a quiz that is almost meta in its approach. It is simply titled, Discover what type of quiz will help you reach your business growth goals.
A diagnostic quiz about what kind of quiz you need. It's brilliant.
And that single tool yielded 17,681 quiz takers.
Nearly 18,000 people.
Yes. And that sheer volume of highly engaged lead generation directly drove multiple 6 figures in back-end sales for her business. But it's crucial to understand that it's not just about the sheer volume of leads. The true power of a diagnostic quiz is the automated segmentation. When 17,000 people take a quiz, you aren't just collecting a massive spreadsheet of generic email addresses.
Right, because you are tracking their answers.
Exactly. You are collecting 17,000 deep, highly granular data profiles on exactly what your audience is struggling with, what their goals are, and what their budget is. In a CRM, you can automatically tag these users based on their results. This allows for incredibly precise, high-converting follow-up marketing. If the quiz diagnoses them as a beginner needing lead generation, they get an automated email sequence selling a beginner product. You never pitch the wrong product to the wrong person.
You are sorting them into highly customized buckets before you ever even make a pitch. It's incredibly efficient. Danielle Clem did something very similar to diagnose sales failures. She is a conversion rate optimization strategist, and she built the freebie to buyer gap quiz. It speaks right to the most painful point for a creator. Your email list is growing, you're getting leads, but your actual sales are flat. Answer 6 questions to find out exactly why they aren't buying.
Danielle's data provides a masterclass in how to properly design these diagnostics. She notes something crucial about the language used. She previously ran a different quiz called the Almost Buyer Identifier. The problem was the questions were far too advanced and analytical. It caused friction, and the completion rate suffered.
Because if the diagnostic tool is too complicated, it just becomes another form of a textbook. It feels like a test you can fail.
Precisely. But the freebie to buyer gap quiz asks very approachable, plain language questions about the user's daily experience. Because it is easier to understand and doesn't make the user feel stupid, Danielle notes it gets the highest completion rate of any quiz she has ever run. And as a direct result, it has been her strongest lead magnet for driving actual back-end sales. Ease of use directly correlates to revenue.
Simona McNeil nailed this exact concept of ease of use with her Revenue Without Drama quiz. Simona is a systems expert who helps coaches build AI-powered infrastructures so their businesses can actually survive a crisis. And she knows about crises firsthand. She actually built her business around system resilience after an emergency surgery took her completely offline right in the middle of a major product launch.
She used that intense personal experience to build a diagnostic resilience scorecard. Her quiz scores online businesses across 5 critical areas: traffic, lead gen, conversions, delivery, and support. Based on the user's answers, the tool highlights exactly where their operational systems would break and where they would lose money if an unexpected crisis hit tomorrow. Crucially, it ranks their top 3 priorities by financial impact.
And it works. She generated 68 opt-ins in less than 7 days, purely from cold traffic. And she specifically noted that she pays deep attention to her own habits as a consumer. She knows she is far more likely to finish a lead magnet if it is fun, highly visual, and a little gamified. She engineered the drama out of the assessment, and Tara Reid used that exact same psychological hook, but targeted specifically at introverts.
Tara Reid is a business strategist who champions what she calls the quiet marketing approach. She targets introverted entrepreneurs who are exhausted by the constant, loud, performative social media hustling that gurus constantly preach. She created the "What's Your Introverted Superpower?" quiz. It helps these introverted business owners identify their natural operational archetype, whether they are a visionary strategist, an empathetic connector, and so on.
Okay, this is the Myers-Briggs effect in action. Everyone universally loves to know what type they are. We love taking personality tests because we inherently love learning about ourselves, and we love having a framework to explain our behavior to others.
The psychology is undeniable, and the data proves it. Tara consistently adds about 150 new subscribers a month, purely organically with this quiz. But more importantly than the top-of-funnel growth, she notes that the automated email sequences triggered by the specific quiz results have the absolute highest open and click-through rates of any emails she sends in her entire business.
Why is the engagement so astronomically high on the back end?
Because of the categorization we discussed earlier. The user isn't receiving a generic mass blast newsletter. They are receiving highly specific, deeply empathetic advice tailored to the exact psychological identity they just claimed in the quiz. The relevance of the email is near 100%. They feel seen.
So if you are a creator building these diagnostic tools, the golden rule is that the complex analysis has to be handled entirely by the tool behind the scenes. The user experience must remain frictionless. This is exactly what Danielle Voorhees discovered. She is a growth engineer who builds complex analytic systems. Her audience is advanced. We are talking about businesses that have traffic, they have revenue, they have mountains of data. But they are still making massive business decisions purely on gut instinct because they literally do not know how to interpret their own spreadsheets.
It is a very common, very dangerous paradox in the modern data age. Businesses are drowning in data, but absolutely starving for actionable insight. Originally, Danielle offered a static PDF guide explaining her proprietary decision loop framework. But it failed. It required the user to do the incredibly heavy cognitive work of analyzing their own behavioral patterns against her complex framework, so she replaced it with an AI-powered growth leak diagnostic.
And the architecture of this tool is so cool. It actually uses conversational AI to interview the business owner about a real specific decision they recently made in their business. It dynamically maps their behavioral pattern, identifies their specific cognitive decision-making style, and then calculates and delivers a validated North Star metric specific to their exact business model. Every single output is completely different. Two businesses in the exact same industry will get completely different metrics based on how they interact with the AI.
And the crucial point Danielle makes in her data is that the completion rates on this advanced AI diagnostic are dramatically higher than her old PDF. Why? Because the tool acts as the data analyst. The user simply answers conversational questions about their own recent experience, which is easy because we are all the world's foremost experts on our own experiences. The AI does the heavy computational math of synthesizing that subjective experience into an objective business strategy.
Which brings us perfectly to Karen Grill. She is an email strategist, and she focuses on the deeply technical, incredibly unsexy, but absolutely vital side of email marketing, deliverability and server authentication.
Yes, the invisible infrastructure of the internet. We were talking about SPF, DCAM, and DMRC records.
Okay, stop right there. I know what those are, but for the listener who just felt their eyes glaze over at those acronyms, explain what those are in plain English. Why do they matter?
Think of email authentication like the Postal Service. If I send you a letter, I can write anyone's name on the return address. I could pretend to be the IRS or your bank. It's very easy to forge. Spammers do this constantly with email. SPF, DCAM, and DRRs are essentially cryptographic wax seals and verified digital passports for your email domain. They prove to Gmail and Yahoo that you are who you say you are and that your email hasn't been tampered with. If these records aren't configured correctly in your domain settings, Gmail assumes you are a spammer or a forger, and your emails go straight to the spam folder or are blocked entirely.
Which means you can spend $10,000 on a launch campaign and nobody ever even sees the emails. You lose thousands of dollars without ever knowing why. You absolutely cannot give a creative, right-brained course creator a PDF checklist about configuring DNS records and cryptographic keys. They will read the title, nod their heads, get instantly overwhelmed, and never implement it because they lack the foundational technical vocabulary to even log into their domain registrar.
So Karen built the Email Trust Checker. It is a GPT-powered assessment that bypasses the technical jargon entirely. It asks plain language questions about their current setup and their recent email performance. No coding or server knowledge required. And it processes those answers to give them one of three crystal clear diagnoses. Your email is safe, it is at risk, or it is broken, along with one specific immediate recommended action.
She brought in 202 new subscribers with this specific tool, and a staggering 40% of them immediately moved to the next step in her customer journey, whether that was signing up for a paid workshop,
or booking a ticket consultation.
The psychology of that 40% conversion rate is fascinating. When an authoritative tool diagnoses your primary revenue driver, your email list, as literally broken and tells you the financial consequences, the urgency skyrockets. The transition to a paid solution is incredibly natural because the tool has definitively proved the existence of an urgent problem.
Okay, so quizzes and AI diagnostics are incredible for categorization, identifying behavioral gaps, and pointing out technical flaws. But what happens when the problem isn't behavioral? What happens when you are selling something incredibly expensive and your audience's primary objection is strictly mathematical? When the buyer's sitting there looking at your sales page thinking, I just don't know if this massive capital investment makes financial sense for our company. That leads us into the world of high-stakes math and the massive, undeniable advantage of the interactive calculator.
This is where we see a distinct transition from B2C business to consumer psychology to hardcore B2B business to business psychology. In B2C, you are often selling a product based on emotion, identity, or convenience. In B2B, you are rarely selling emotion. You are selling a rigorous business case. You are selling a measurable return on investment. And you absolutely cannot make a compelling, undeniable business case with a static PDF.
Enter Camelia Jackson. She is the head of B2B marketing at LearnWorlds. For context, LearnWorlds is a massive software platform used by course creators and large corporate training businesses to host their educational material. Originally, to acquire leads, their marketing department was using static comparison pages and blog posts. You know the exact type. A page titled LearnWorlds versus Competitor X, featuring a long, biased list of features and bullet points.
Camelia realized that these static comparison pages were fundamentally flawed. In her words, they were speaking at people rather than helping the prospect truly internalize the value. A bullet point saying we are cheaper doesn't carry emotional weight. So she utilized an AI tool called Lovable to build a B2B training profit calculator. Lovable is an AI coding agent. You don't need to know how to write a single line of React or Python. You simply talk to the AI in plain English. You describe the web application you want, in this case, a complex financial calculator, and the AI writes the code, structures the database, and deploys a functional web app for you. It empowers marketers to build software without engineers.
So she uses Lovable to build this calculator. What does the tool actually do for the prospect?
It specifically targets high-volume training businesses. It allows these businesses to see exactly how much pure profit they could save over a 12-month period by switching to LearnWorld's flat cost pricing model, as opposed to the per learner variable fees charged by their competitors.
And the brilliance is that it isn't based on arbitrary inflated marketing numbers. The user physically inputs their actual current client roster, their actual projected growth rate, the number of learners per client, and their specific contract values. The calculator runs the math and spits out a highly personalized 12-month revenue versus cost projection based on their own proprietary data.
The results are a testament to the power of customized math. They generated 470 qualified B2B submissions from 6,700 visitors. That equates to roughly a 7% conversion rate on cold B2B traffic in under a month, which, if you know B2B SaaS metrics, is exceptionally strong.
You can read a glossy PDF brochure at the dealership that tells you a new hybrid car gets great fuel efficiency. And you think, okay, that's nice, but it's just marketing spin. But if you go to the manufacturer's website and there is an interactive slider tool, and you input your exact daily commute mileage and the live cost of gas in your specific zip code, and the tool shows you that you will personally save $1,400 a year in gas, well, suddenly it's not an abstract marketing concept. It is your actual money. The math becomes real. You are emotionally bought in.
That is the genius of the calculator format, and it touches on a behavioral economics concept called the endowment effect. When a user invests their own effort, in this case, inputting their own confidential financial data, they attribute higher value to the output. If a PDF tells them they will save money, they are naturally skeptical of the author's bias. But if the calculator tells them they will save money, based entirely on the raw numbers they just typed in, the resulting argument is undisputable. The user has essentially bypassed the salesperson and successfully sold themselves on the product.
But okay, as we look at all these incredible AI tools, the custom GPTs, the installable Claude artifacts, the AI-coded B2B calculators, I can practically hear a segment of our audience starting to panic. They are listening to this in their car, gripping the steering wheel, thinking, I am a life coach. I am a fitness instructor. I am not a developer. I don't know how to code in React. I don't know how to prompt engineer a Claude skill, and I don't want to learn. Does this mean I am doomed to the PDF graveyard forever?
It is a completely valid concern, but the answer is emphatically no. Because the fundamental underlying shift we are talking about today isn't actually about the complexity of the code. It is about the activity of the user. You absolutely do not need machine learning APIs or complex AI models to make a format interactive and highly converting. Some of the most powerful shifts and highest conversion rates in this entire data set simply involve taking passive, read-only content and transforming it into an active living workspace.
Yes, the living lead magnet. This is for everyone who wants the insane 50% conversion rates without needing a computer science degree. Let's talk about Damaju. She is a digital product strategist who is obsessed with clever systems and what she calls lazy funnels, which, by the way, is a masterclass in brand positioning. Everyone wants a lazy funnel. Her audience consists of course creators who are deeply burned out on massive, exhausting, live signature course launches. They want to build multiple, small, low-ticket products that sell on autopilot instead.
Dama's experience perfectly mirrors the exact problem we started this deep dive with. She used to hand out static PDFs. She admitted they were visually stunning, but they just sat in her audience's inboxes completely unread. Furthermore, she found them to be a total operational nightmare to maintain on the back end. If she wanted to change a single broken hyperlink or update a strategy, she had to open her expensive design software, make the change, re-export the entire PDF, re-upload it to her hosting platform, and update the links on her site. It was an enormous waste of time.
So tedious. So she scrapped the PDF model entirely. She created what she calls the Upsell Offer Locker. It is a highly curated collection of 46 ready-to-steal upsell and order bump ideas for digital products. But instead of laying them out in a gorgeous PDF, it is a fillable Google Doc workbook, just a plain, simple Google Doc.
And the strategic advantages of deploying a simple Google Doc are immense for both parties. First, for the creator, it is instantly updatable in real time without any paid design software. If Dama wants to add a 47th idea, she types it in, and everyone has it instantly. Second, for the user, a copy of the document lives permanently inside their own Google Drive ecosystem. But most importantly, it forces the user to physically work inside the document.
Giving someone a beautiful PDF is like giving them a gorgeous, leather-bound, gold-embossed journal that has been permanently glued shut. They can look at it on their shelf, they can admire the craftsmanship, but they can't actually use it for anything. Giving them a Google Doc is handing them a cheap pen, opening a spiral notebook to page 1, and saying, start writing. It invites action. It is an open kitchen where they can start cooking immediately.
And Dama's results are arguably the most mind-blowing numbers in our entire stack of source material. She generated 12,244 leads with an incredible 51.09% conversion rate.
Let's contextualize that. More than half the people who landed on that page opted in. Over 50% of cold traffic saw a Google Doc and said, yes, I need that. And she noted that the single low-tech lead magnet fed directly into 4 distinct paid funnels, driving massive back-end revenue.
51% conversion on top of funnel traffic is astronomical. And it proves definitively that interaction doesn't have to mean artificial intelligence. It just means providing a workspace instead of a lecture. We see another phenomenal example of this low-tech, high-impact approach with Letitia Jadine. Letitia is an audience growth strategist. Her audience consists of coaches and course creators who are completely exhausted by the social media algorithm. They are tired of dancing on TikTok, and they want to grow their list through warm collaborations like podcast guesting, JV partnerships, or bundle events.
Originally, she had a Google Doc that just listed 18 ways to grow through collaboration. And while a Google Doc is better than a PDF, it was still just a static list of ideas. It told them what to do, you should go pitch a podcast, but didn't help them actually do it or find anyone to pitch.
So Letitia built the collaboration directory. She transformed a static list of ideas into a searchable, evergreen, interactive directory of actual business owners, creators, and entrepreneurs who are actively looking to collaborate right now. Users can browse the database by collaboration type, and they can add their own name and pitch to the directory so others can find them.
It is brilliant because she didn't just give them a map to the destination, she built the actual destination. And it brought in over 1,300 new subscribers. We are seeing the principle of network effects in full force. A traditional PDF degrades in value over time. The information gets older, the design looks dated, the links break. But a directory operates in the exact opposite trajectory. Every single time a new person downloads the lead magnet and adds their name and their podcast to the list, the entire directory becomes measurably more valuable for everyone else who already has it. The users are literally generating the value of the lead magnet for the creator. It is a completely self-sustaining ecosystem. The bigger it gets, the easier it is to sell. Sue's brick took a similar living document approach, but combined it with AI.
She helped small businesses with content strategy. She took two separate static PDF lead magnets, combined them into a single content strategy and planning checklist, but then she added an action and help hub built on Notebook LM.
Notebook LM is an incredibly powerful tool for this specific use case.
And what is Notebook LM?
Notebook LM is an AI tool developed by Google. Unlike ChatGPT, which pulls from the entire internet and can often hallucinate or give generic advice, Notebook LM is grounded. You upload specific documents to it, in Suze's case, her proprietary checklists, her frameworks, or audio files, and the AI acts as an expert only on those specific documents. It cannot answer questions outside of the context of what you provided.
So it's a closed-loop system. She combined the simplicity of a checklist with the power of a highly contained AI workspace. Users can check off their tasks, and if they get stuck, they ask the Notebook LM hub, which gives them custom action steps based strictly on Suze's methodology.
And finally, rounding out our low-tech interactive formats, we have Adrienne Farrow. Her entire business is built around mastering Google Workspace tools. Her mission is helping solopreneurs build simple, elegant systems so their digital workspace isn't a chaotic, stressful mess.
And let's be real, everyone's Google Drive is a chaotic mess. It is the digital equivalent of that one junk drawer in your kitchen where you throw dead batteries, rubber bands, and takeout menus.
Exactly. And initially, Adrienne tried to solve this universal problem with a PDF guide on how to organize your Google Drive. But she quickly realized that a PDF was inherently the wrong medium for this specific task. Trying to describe where to click, how to nest folders, and how to configure sharing permissions through static text is an exercise in absolute frustration for the reader.
It's like reading the manual for IKEA furniture without any of the pictures. You are just guessing. So what did she do to fix the medium?
She ditched the PDF entirely and created the Google Drive Reset Kit. It's structured as a mini course. It consists of 5 simple, highly actionable screen recordings. The user literally watches her execute the clicks on screen, and they can pause the video, follow along in their own drive, and execute the 5 fixes in under 30 minutes.
It is the ultimate manifestation of show, don't tell. And it is incredibly cost-effective for her business. Her data shows she is growing her list at an acquisition cost of just 45 cents a lead, adding 20 to 25 highly engaged people to her paid Facebook group every single day. The format screen recordings perfectly match the mechanical problem she was trying to solve.
Every single one of these 24 creators recognized a fundamental friction point in their audience's journey, and they selected the precise interactive format, whether it was an AI artifact, a matchmaker, a quiz, or a simple Google Doc to eliminate that friction.
Okay, we have covered an immense amount of ground today. We have looked inside the architectures, the strategies, and the psychology of 24 wildly different, wildly successful creators. We've talked about APIs, network effects, endowment effects, and the psychology of vague guilt. So what does this all mean? If we have to synthesize this entire massive deep dive into a single, undeniable golden thread, what is the ultimate takeaway for the person listening to this right now?
The golden thread uniting every piece of data we looked at today is this. Stop asking your audience to read and start helping them do. They stopped trying to prove how smart they were by writing 50-page PDFs, and they started proving how incredibly useful they could be by building interactive tools, calculators, quizzes, and living workspaces.
Stop asking them to read. Start helping them do. I absolutely love that. And to you, the listener, looking at your own business, your own marketing strategy right now, look at the core piece of advice. That primary lead magnet you currently give away for free on your website. Be honest with yourself. Are you handing people a complex map, wishing them luck, and telling them to start walking? Or are you offering them a ride? Because these 24 creators are offering a ride and their audiences are piling in by the tens of thousands.
The transition from mapmaker to chauffeur is a defining competitive advantage in the modern digital economy. The tools exist today, whether it is a complex custom GPT, an installable Claude artifact, a lovable coded calculator, or just a strategically designed fillable Google Doc, to completely eliminate the friction between your audience's problem and your solution. The only question remaining is whether you are willing to embrace the shift and build it.
And that leaves us with one final lingering thought to chew on as we wrap up. Something that really puts this entire AI era and the death of the PDF into stark perspective. If we are entering a world we are actually already in, where artificial intelligence can instantly, perfectly, and freely generate vast amounts of information on literally any topic, well, then your standard text-heavy, informational PDF lead magnet is no longer just competing with other creators' PDFs. It is directly competing with a free search query. Someone can just ask a chatbot and get your 10 pages of advice tailored perfectly to their situation in 3 seconds for free. So Here is the existential question you have to ask yourself about the future of your business. What happens to your revenue? What happens to your entire customer acquisition model when your competitor's free interactive lead magnet is literally better, faster, and more personalized than your paid introductory course? Think about that. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for listening all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. If you loved the show, I'd appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.